Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Top in Tech. And today, we're having a topic conversation around a subject that I guarantee is going to be discussed over many, teh tarik, over many teh tariks and coffees, because it's something that affects each and every one of us. It's something that affects me, affects DNA, my organization also, the future of work. But you can see that we then paraphrased it to what's the reality, right? Because we want to know what's happening right now and what's happening in the near term. Because if we want to talk about just the future of work, all of us can go on YouTube and you can watch so many webinars or so many talks and you can read so many articles, right, about people predicting the future of work. We want to know, we want to give you a sense of what our three esteemed panelists who are all very experienced and are experiencing the future of work right now are doing, within their organizations and what they're advising others also. Very important, right? They each run their own organization. They're experiencing the future of work right now as we speak. And they're also in a role where they advise and counsel other organizations. So that's why I say it's a fantastic, esteemed panelists that are going to be able to share with us now. For those of you who are watching the first time, one unique thing about Top in Tech is that we are not going to be talking among ourselves, right? The questions that I'll be asking them are from those of you who have already shared your questions beforehand. And those of you who decide to share your questions now, the panelists will be observing and be answering them also. So lots and lots of questions will be answered. And with that now, I'm going to invite, we're going to start them sequentially. They're each going to give a quick opening remarks. And I'm going to start with our MNC, CEO, Mr. Anthony Raja from Corn Ferry. Anthony, can you join me on the screen?
Hi, Karamjit. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thank you. All right. So thank you very much to Karamjit, HRD Corp, Malaysia, Kenya, and DNA, and MCMTC for inviting us for this, I think, very exciting session. But I like the perspective of what's the reality of the future of work. And I particularly like one thing which you said, near term. And I think it's important that organizations have to embrace short-term thinking and near-term thinking as much as mid-term and long-term, yeah? And that is a priority for each of the area. And definitely, I think we need to look at the inclusivity of the different workforce and also to kind of renew or review the culture perspective as you come back into the new environment. So my name is Anthony Raja, MD of Corn Ferry, Malaysia. Pleased to be part of this exciting future of work conversation today. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Short and brief. I think Anthony is just ready to start answering all the questions. Okay, we're going to put you backstage first, Anthony, and we're going to invite Datuk Shahul to share his opening remarks.
Hi, good afternoon, Karamjit. Thank you for having me. And it's my pleasure to be part of this exciting event. The topic is very interesting. This is something very close to what we do in our day-to-day life in HRD Corp. It's about future of work and what is the reality of having it in the real time. And this is a huge topic, and I'm sure that it can't be discussed just over the period of just 1 hour or 2 hours. We can speak for hours and hours. But in a nutshell, I think there's a lot of experienced and exciting pointers that can be shared in this 1 hour. And I'm happy you had a very dynamic list of speakers in this panel. You have Anthony and you have Nick from MDEC and yourself, your good self. I'm sure together we could make this session a very interesting one for this 1 hour session. And of course, once again, I'm very proud to be part of this exciting event. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dr. Shahul. So, all right, let's bring on Nick now, who's from MDEC, and MDEC, as you know, likes to call itself the tip of the spear, right, of advancing the digital economy in Malaysia. And of course, the future of work. The very fact that we are having this topic is because of the disruption caused by digital, even more so now. In fact, I forgot to bring my Oculus headset. I had it here. I think my kids have been using it, right? And I was going to put it on and say, this may be part of the future of work today itself, right? But anyway, Nick, the screen is yours for the next few minutes.
Right. Thanks, Karamjit. Very excited to be here. Top in Tech. First time on this show. So as you rightly said, I think MDEC is very much in the thick of it. We definitely believe that the future is digital. And if you look at this guy, embodying the spirit of Malaysia Digital, he's imagining what work will be like as he goes into the future. So that's why the tagline, think possible. Next slide. So, yeah. So when I say the future is digital, I think if you look at this, so Malaysia Digital is about getting in the quality digital investments from overseas as well as local. It's making sure that our companies are equipped to grow and compete in the digital world, and making sure that we have the right talent to drive the growth of these businesses, and also making sure that the rakyat are sufficiently digital savvy so that they can benefit and participate in the digital economy. Right, next. So when we say that the future is digital, I think this slide perfectly embodies that. This shows the growth of the contribution of digital economy into the national GDP. If you click one more time, you can see that by 2025, the contribution will be well above the target of 25%. Oh. So a full quarter of the national economy coming from digital. Next. So in imagining, sorry. Okay. Karamjit, you mentioned about the near future, right? So we are promoting these sectors which we believe will bring in the right investment to drive the growth of Malaysia Digital. And we have started to launch some of these. If you look at digital tourism, we recently launched a component of it, the digital nomad, which has been quite a hit. We've got 5,000 applicants coming in and over 200 already approved. Right, next. So this brings me to the essence. I love this. I got this from SHRM, the Society of HR Managers. Defines the future of work. We have to think of the future of work from the perspective of how the work is done, who does the work, and when and where the work is done. So how, I think a lot of automation will be coming in. Who does the work on top of the full-time? We'll have a lot more gig workers coming in. And where work is done, co-located workspace is traditional, but now we have remote workers. We have our fresh graduates being hired by US and European companies doing remote work from Malaysia and getting paid in USD.
Wow, hey, I also want that, man.
So that's it. Let's go.
Very interesting. You know, when you see your fluid work schedule. Okay, let's thank you very much. Let's bring on the other panelists also onto the screen now. So what's interesting is I saw your last slide. It said fluid work schedule, and I was just talking to somebody from a global company, but they're working in the Malaysian operations, and the person said that, Karam, you know, I can actually choose to work from midnight to 8 a.m. in the morning if I wanted to, because she's in a global team. And right. I was going, wow, it's so amazing, right? The next normal is incredible. But it's, of course, all this is for digital savvy workers, right? Not your physical workers, right? You got to go to a restaurant or whatever. No, so it's going to be different. But anyway, come, I'm going to get started with the Q&A for all three of you, and I know questions will start coming in. Can we get Datuk Shahul and also, Anthony onto the screen? Okay, excellent. So I'm going to start with Anthony, and I'm going to go to Datuk, and I'm going to do Nick, right? And rapid fire, so we get as many questions as can. And they'll also be interrupting if they find one of your questions interesting live. They'll say, Karamjit, I want to answer that question first, okay? So please have your questions coming for those of you who are with us. So Anthony, and this is a question from, I think, Vanessa Tan, Deputy CEO of HT Consulting. Oh, okay, I happen to know Vanessa. Her father is a legend in the tech ecosystem in Malaysia. Oh, you're still on mute, Anthony. Yeah, okay.
I know her too as well.
Yeah, so coincidental. So, but that's not why I think Anthony picked the question. So the panelists pick their own questions, okay? DNA Malaysia has got no influence in telling them what question to pick. So please answer this about the biggest challenges companies will face in this thing.
Okay, so I think firstly, I would say the 3 years, if I may say, not just generally a big change that has happened pre, during, and post. I will say, like a pit stop, right? It went by very fast. And reality is that companies need to take a stock of what happened and also moving forward, how it's going to look like post, right? And the thought is, how do I look at ensuring my workforce is relevant? And how do we ensure that mutually we work with them? In a way, if I may say, I know it's an overused word, but proof them, future-proof them, ensure that they are relevant, ensure that they are driving forward in that. But I'll take a step back and say, in reality, we are still talking about, are we bringing them back to work?
Oh.
Right? This is reality. Yeah? This conversation is going on from
Yep.
the largest companies to the mid-sized companies to the small companies. Is that hybrid work environment? Is that remote work environment? In reality, are we actually wanting people to come back? Is that the challenge which we have? Or should we actually figure out what people want to work moving forward? So is the choice ours as an employer, or is the choice as an organization, or is the choice as from an individual perspective? So I'm just putting that perspective into a thought. And in line with that, of course, when you're looking at building a future-proof talent, we want to look at how the organization's evolved and what type of talent that they need to ensure that their capabilities fit. And for that to fit, let's say, the new world of work, right? What are those things that we want? Independence, ability to work, critical thinking, operational excellence, an element of, I would say, emotional quotient, but also social quotient. And the reason why I'm saying is it's related to mental health. How are you resilient? How are you managing yourself during that change? And how are you shifting that? And of course, to couple this is the digital skills, right? You need to bridge that human skills and the digital skills. And the human skills related to how you manage yourself better, your team better, your family better. But the tech skills or tech stack needs to be about how do you apply those skill sets related to your functions. It can come from any domain. You could be in finance, you could be in HR, you could be in marketing, you could be in anything. But how do you stack it up with the digital skills, right? And keeping in mind, how do you bring this both together? The human skills and the digital skills. And these two are important for whichever size of an organization. Can be a startup, small and medium enterprise, large organization, etc. Whichever way it applies. But these are foreseeable challenges that you can see in terms of ensuring that you're building a proof for your workforce.
Okay, thank you. So interesting.
Yeah.
I guess you're saying that no matter what your role, right, you got to make sure that you are able to acquire a level of digital savviness, right, to relevant to your work, right? So very interesting. It is no more, hey, digital means, okay, IT, macam mana nak buat ni, or how to do this, or that, or where. If you're the one who's doing like that, one day then you suddenly see the line, please come to HR and get your termination letter. So very dangerous.
Karamjit, I'll tell you one thing. No more calling IT and saying, I lost my password, reset. It's now you have to do it self-service.
Wow.
So you got to remember that is your ownership moving forward. No
Very
more ownership of anyone else.
Wow, that's powerful, man. It is your ownership now. Fantastic. So now, talking about ownership, let's bring on Datuk Shahul. There's a question for you here, right? And I think Datuk Shahul has got a lot of ownership also, right, in making sure that organizations can level up and skill up, man. So, okay, the question for you is that with all these rapid changes, right, will there be opportunities, for the aging workforce? So I should have dyed my beard white, so it looks like black. Looks like I'm part of this also now. So I'll be listening very carefully to your answer here.
Okay, maybe before I just move on to the actual question about the aging workforce, let me just take a minute to share a little bit about what HRD Corp do.
Sure.
Having established HRD Corp, HRD in 1993, is almost 30 years.
Wow.
We are celebrating our 30th anniversary here.
Fantastic.
Started off as a small council in the year 1993. Our primary objective is to collect levy from the employers and to distribute as a training grant to the employees. And our core objective is to ensure that training and development is happening in a very systematic manner. Over the period, there's so many things have been changed. The landscape of training and development has been changed, and alhamdulillah, we have been keeping in pace with the change of the trends in technology. So today, we can proudly say We have almost 85,000 employees registered with HRD Corp, with access to 4.6 million employees. For the year ended 2022, we trained close to 1.5 million training places.
Wow.
That's a very huge number.
Yeah.
With almost 1.8 billion collection levy from the employers. I strongly believe in HRD Corp that we just want to make sure that training is a necessity in the country. It is not a luxury. We want people to believe that training and development is part of everybody's life. And I don't want SMEs or MNCs or GLCs to put training as a last item in the P&L. It should be the first item in the P&L. And only when you have the right training and development, you will be able to have an effective workforce. And that's about a little bit about HRD Corp and our message to the audience. Your question is very, very significant. This is where HRD Corp, we continue to work very closely with all our stakeholders. Although we have done many initiatives in the last 2 years, understanding what is our stakeholder wanted. Of course, thanks to COVID, while COVID have brought in many challenges, it also brought in many good things in the workspace. If not for COVID, the industry wouldn't have adapted the technology that fast. Number one. Number two, people wouldn't have gone into online training, Zoom meetings. Before COVID, people don't believe in meeting people online. People don't want to go into the training space, the online training space. But COVID has pushed us to drastically move into that, the technology space. The aging, population is a concern to us as a big time, because you can see, according to the Department of Statistics, Malaysia is already considered an aging country. And a populace age 65 makes up more than 7% of the total population. That's a very serious concern to us. Once you get that kind of hitting the kind of remark of us getting a aging population and we are aging country, the older generation is an essential asset to the country, as they have extensive experience, skills, knowledge, wisdom that is of great value to many industries. With the current challenges of getting right workforce into the business, this aging population can contribute a lot of value proposition to the organization. I believe with proper training and development, they can get up to the speed needs of working in the modern era and continue contributing to the economy if they choose so. I think this COVID also brought in other challenges to the market, to the industry. Of course, Raja, who's been directly involved in the recruitment and also human capital business, likewise MDEC, they all will agree with me unanimously that getting a right workforce into the job is a big challenge. And with COVID, after COVID, we have all this, very fancy jargons, working from home, flexi working hours, and, freelancers. People start to believe that, freelancing is the way forward. Freelancing is the future. Of course, nothing wrong in being a freelancer. But once you get into have the mode of becoming a freelancer, and you have a shortage of getting a fixed workforce in the business, and companies are having difficulty. I was in Penang a couple of weeks back, and I had an industry engagement. The industry is really having a difficult time getting the right people. The young people are not coming in. They all wanted to go back to drive Grab. They want to become a gig worker. And these people are very complacent with the kind of salary, 2,000, 1,800. They're very complacent, and they don't want to go back to the workforce. They believe that as a freelancer, I can earn 1,500. I can go to, I can do things at my own pace. I don't have to report to people. This have caused a lot of damages to the corporate companies, and I still don't understand when people say there's no job opportunities in the industry. There's so many jobs available, people are not really taking up. So I believe the senior citizens can play a vital role in addressing this gap. Of course, while bringing in the senior citizen, we are not, taking away the opportunities from the younger generation, new people. But these people coming in, they can really mentor the younger people, or they could share their experiences, guide them in the right way. So these younger people can get onto the job market in a better pace and a better understanding of jobs. So I mean, in HRD Corp, we launched a scheme last year, and we'll be pushing it very hard this year. It's a program called SEBA, Seniors Citizens Back in Action. I'm sure at the age of 60, you can still contribute a lot of things. And 60, I would say most of them are at the peak at the age of 60. I mean, at the peak of your career, maybe of 60. And that's not the time for you to retire and just totally go away from the industry.
Okay.
Still, you can still get onto the business. You can pick up some jobs, maybe on a part-time or a flexi mode. Rather than working on 40 hours a week, maybe you can work 15, 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
Still contribute to the corporate companies, guide the younger people. And it is an initiative to help facilitate the process of getting willing senior citizens to rejoin the workforce by providing with the right training, followed by employment or placement in the right organization.
Yeah. With the right organization, I think that's key. Yeah. So I think companies which are open to it will probably be able to tap a very, a valuable and interesting level of experience and knowledge, right? They wouldn't have in your organization if they were fixated, I want 50 hours a week, someone to work for me. I think if you segment it, I want 10 hours, 20 hours, it can work. I mean, I know of a young lady, in her late 30s, and she's a chief marketing officer, and some of you may know, and she's like working for 4 or 5 companies at the same time, right? And one company, which is a small company, can only afford her for 4 hours a week. And she said that, Karam, it's enough for me to help them for, otherwise they cannot get someone of that access. And I love that, right? So you will help the senior people can also level the playing field for the smaller ones to say, I cannot afford it. So in all sense, it's so dynamic, right? So many things are happening. Great. So, okay, let's bring on Nick now. See, he's eager to join in the fray. So Nick, the first question for you is actually on how does so this is a big question, and always, no matter what topic we do, there's always one question a few people ask about the education system. So please don't keep it too long. There are a lot of questions you want to answer, but how does our education system adapt, right, to the future needs? And this is actually from a lecturer from Open University Malaya.
Right. Okay. So as education institutions worldwide grapples with this question.
True.
This is not unique to Malaysia. Everybody in the world are trying to figure out how can they best respond to this ever-changing and fast-changing tech, right?
Yep.
So I believe in Malaysia, the people in charge have done significant efforts to make these changes. For example, that we work closely with the Ministry of Education, with the Ministry of Higher Education, to help them, adapt to these changes. So, for example, at the MOE level, the K-12 primary school, secondary school, if you have school-going children, you will have noticed that those in the secondary school, they have started the Asas Science Computer for a few years. And for Form 4 and 5, the Science Computer is already as a formal subject. And on top of that, we have worked with the ministry also to embed key foundational skills which all students need for the future. So these are things like computer science thinking, the computational thinking.
Okay.
How you think now for the computer age is different from what thinking skills you needed before, right? So this is already embedded into different subjects at school, right? So let's say, for example, they're studying science. How you approach science computationally, thinking about it, is already embedded there. So this will make the students more ready to face the future of work. So apart from that, we also work to generate interest. We launched the My Digital Maker movement in 2016. This is a nationwide movement. Every year, except for the COVID, we had it online. We have the My Digital Maker Fair, where we got students, teachers, industries, and all tech lovers like to get together and come into a fiesta mode, right, to generate interest.
Okay.
So this is already ongoing. So once the students go to tertiary, then we also work with the Ministry of Higher Education. In 2017, we launched this initiative. We call it the Premier Digital Tech Institutions. Right. So this helps the industry significantly because now they know that in Malaysia, we have institutions, our institutions are producing the right kind of graduates that they can immediately hire and work with to fill their hiring needs. So this is already ongoing, and the impact is quite significant. Right? Employability, every year, year in, year out, 95% and upwards.
Wow.
We're tracking their salary. Salary is going upwards every year, because we're trying to push the salary up. That's another, I think, concern by employees.
Okay.
The salary is not going up enough, so we're pushing it upwards, going towards 3,000, 3,500, 4,000, right? So apart from that, we also work with the universities to review the curriculum and introducing flexible curriculum such as in the forms of micro-credentials, where industries can come in and put their content into the university, either through the formal curriculum or through the micro-credential route, right? On top of that, we also realized that digital entrepreneurship is also very important.
Okay.
So we have worked with the Ministry of Higher Education to embed our e-usahawan module into the university curriculum. All IPTAs, all 20 IPTAs have adopted this. And with the rising popularity of gig work, we are now embarking on an initiative with the ministry to also expose and raise awareness of the students and lecturers alike on the potential of gig work and how they can contribute and participate, especially for those high-value gigs. High-value gigs, and we don't want the normal gig. What we want, those requiring skills, particularly tech skills, so that they can participate and get work on the gig platform and earning good income.
And yeah, that's the key, right? Everybody wants to be able to have the chance to earn good income. Okay, let me just move on to back to Anthony now, right? And this question from, I think, HK Chan, right, who's a partner at the risk consultancy, and asking about the skills we need to learn. Interesting, to compete with automation, and I instinctively disagree, right? You don't want to acquire skills to compete with, like it's what you said at the beginning, right? To enhance and to augment, right? Because the reality is digital and automation, increasing levels of automation are part of the workforce. But anyway, I'll let you handle this question. It's not addressed to me.
Thanks, Karamjit, for channeling it to me. And you're right, of course. Sometimes I think the objective from HK Chan was probably to understand how do we, position ourselves, build our skills in tandem with the changes that's happening in the digital side, right? So I mean, in the previous point, I talked about human skills and digital skills, right? So, and I'll give you a bit of context so you can understand. So today, all the workforce of different groups, right? Different ages. I think Datuk was addressing the senior groups earlier, and then Nick was talking about the other younger group of people. If you look at bridging all of them, right, what's interesting right now is that shift, that gap in between. I'm going to use another word called power skills.
Power skills.
Right? Yes. So you got the human skills, so you got the digital skills, right? And I'm adding the word power skills, and I'll explain why. In a recent study which was done, digital skills are highly valued. Okay. It's inevitable that you need to embrace that, move forward with that, right? And not everybody is designed to be a coder, programmer, or designer, or anything. Let's accept it. Yeah. So let's accept the strengths and opportunities for individuals and balance that. So if you look at what's the sought after skills, right, out there in the market, for either you run your own business or you're working part of an organization, I think while you have the technical digital skills and human skills, these power skills are related to certain key areas. For example, customer experience, right? How do you ensure that you are able to appreciate the fact that you can engage with customers, internal or external? I can say I'm behind the screen and say, I'm not talking to anybody, but actually you're working with your team, right? You need to know how to be able to engage with them and vice versa to the externals as well. The other one is, of course, overview, generally leadership skills, right? And I know I'm touching a little bit on soft, but it's actually power, right? Leadership is about building your ability. You can be an individual contributor, you can be a team manager, you can be a leader of the organization, but it applies to everything, that you're doing. Those skills are something you need to, refine and build on your own all the time, right? Then you're talking about articulation, communication. You need to be able to send a message across, even if it is in the written form or in the form of voice, or you're speaking, whichever way it is, or presentations. You need to have that balanced off. Now, with the during, post-pandemic, collaboration is the new magic word, right? So how are you able to connect to people like exactly what you are doing now? There's a group of people who are listening to us in all the channels that you are having, including your streaming channels where they are listening to us. How do you ensure that you're able to engage with them and connect with them, all of them? So I will connect that human skills, digital skills, and now infuse it with power skills. These skills are going to help you make sure that you are going to be more future-proof in line with what changes are happening out there, right? So that's one part of it. But from an organization perspective and the individual perspective, let's see, individualized perspective, there's more individuality now than before. And this is an important point I want to share with you, which means personalized.
Personalized.
Yeah. So which means an individual's needs are more personalized today than ever before, right? Now, if you're an organization, you're looking at supporting your customer needs, right?
True.
You're customizing to the services of the customer. So likewise, to the individual, you need to personalize right now. So that bridging is going to be critical. And so how do you make it easy for people to do new things inside your firm rather than them trying to do with 10 other firms? You know where I'm trying to bridge this, right? I think earlier Datuk Shahul was talking about freelancing and the sexiness and how it is going there, right? It's about supporting the 10 different organizations or whatever it is, right? But why can't you think the other way around, inverse pyramid, where you can say, I can do the 10 different things. I give that opportunity to you within the organization, right? So that shift is coming in. And all of these are skills that an organization needs to facilitate or an individual needs to bridge together to be able to, if I may say, augment the digital changes that's happening out there. So it's proactive. Organizations are equally responsible, and so are the individuals equally responsible to bridge it. It's not one way.
Wonderful, fantastic.
It works both ways.
Very, very true. I think a lot of organizations not enough organizations have realized that. They're like saying, hey, we are the ones who are paying you every month, right? So you follow our way, right? You may be flexible a bit, but it's still on your rules. And it's changing, I think, because I'm reading about, at least in the US, I think if you follow US news, there's a shortage of talent in manufacturing in everywhere. And a lot of employees now also, because of the pandemic, has reshaped people's priorities also, right? And some people may say, hey, look, I only want to work 25 hours a week and I'm willing to sacrifice a bit of income for better quality of life and all that. And companies now are saying that we have to rearrange the way we work, right? To cater to that, because otherwise the fellas all don't want to work, right? So it's like this reality, both sides are facing change of mindset of how they're going to live your life. And the other side is saying, hey, just because we are paying doesn't mean that people now want to follow our way. And if the US seems to set a lot of trends. And I think for audience, that in France now, there are massive strike going on, right? The labor union, because the Prime Minister is trying to increase the retirement age by 2 years, to 64. They don't want, they say only 62 enough. So a lot of dynamic things happening in real time as we're having this discussion also. But okay, let me now just move on to the back to Dato now. And I'm very scared to ask Dato this question because talking about lucky, then I realized the question say the latest incentive. You just asked about the incentives. 2 hours also not enough, right? So Dato, please keep your answer to the latest incentive. Interesting that people want to know that.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I have two questions I saw from the
audience. Okay.
Audience now. I'll pick up these two questions and I try to answer it as quick as possible.
Excellent.
The first question was from Eugene. He's asking about how the HRD Corp claim process being automated, like payment gateway. Is it via e-latte?
Nice. Good question.
For Eugene, I think we strongly believe in digitalization and we embrace technology in HRD Corp from the top to the bottom. And this is something which I took it up personally when I came into HRD Corp 2 years ago. And systematically, we have proven and we have incorporated technology, the way for us to move forward. And with the recent success that every employers are enjoying it, likewise the training providers, is our grant processing, and I think we can proudly say we are using AI technology to, to process our grant approvals. It used to take 1.5 months or 1 month to process the grant. Now it has been done in 24 hours and less than 24 hours. Almost 22,000 application has been done in the last 1.5 months with less than 24 hours of approval. And this is something which is significant and we always proud of. And we never stop with that. We always go for continuous improvement and, in supporting stakeholder experience by refining our services. We also will be processing our claims in less than 7 days, in 7 working days. So this shows that without the involvement of technology, it is impossible to do it.
No, correct.
Of course, we have payment gateway that is embedded in our systems that has been paying out to our employers and also to training providers. These are something which has been there for a long time. I'm talking about the latest technology that we have involved is about the grant and the claim process. Of course, eLatte is our platform. eLatte doesn't have it's a platform that we created to make to ensure that we give training accessibility to every Malaysians, and it's a free platform. But now we are going into the signature programs on eLatte, where people have to pay to get some special content.
Okay.
Content, yeah. That's for the question from Eugene. The second question was from Anas. Train and place program. How does the program benefit the industry? Of course, train and place, be the place and train. These two terminologies are very result centric, very focused, and it always we always wanted trainees to come for training. After the training is done, we should have a right value proposition after the training is done. No point you come to me as unemployed graduate after the training is done and you continue to be unemployed graduate. That doesn't give any value to you, neither the HRD Corp. So we started to incorporate impact and outcome in every trainings we do, in everything that we do, every initiative that we do. We look out for this impact and outcome. And place and train is one of the program that gives us high impact. It is very placement centric. If you want to go to the industry, an industry will tell you, oh, I will take you to the job only when you have this specific skills. Okay, we train you and we place you into that in the jobs. Or sometimes what we do, we get the job first, then we train you, then we place you. So both ways, the trainee have to benefit. Of course, this is one of the very effective and a successful program. And we will continue to do this because end of the day, it's about impact and the outcome.
Okay, wow, interesting. All right. Thank you very much, Datuk. That's interesting that you say you all believe in digitalization from top to bottom. Very comprehensive, so excellent. All right, now let's move on to Nick, right? So Nick, interesting. So this is from a Yao Law, a manager, right, at a company called Seaway. What are the opportunities for those 50 plus, age and above? Interesting. You're on mute. Hold on, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry about that. So before I answer that, I saw a question from Faizah Abdullah.
Okay.
With the introduction of IT in the school, are the teachers well trained to guide the students? Okay, we realize this and we are working with the ministry to make sure that the teachers are updated. Okay. So what we have done on our side, we have activated 39 continuous professional development centers nationwide, mainly located in universities. So we work with the universities. So we get the lecturers to be training the teachers, because the lecturers are better equipped and more updated. So they are the ones who are helping to train the teachers. So we hope by this way, the teachers can continue to be updated, right? So that's to answer that question. And to answer the question from Yao Lo, I think this Datuk touched about this just now, about 50 plus or senior citizens have the opportunity to also re-enter the workforce. Probably a different perspective to that is they also have the opportunity to also join as gig workers, right?
Okay.
In MDEC, we have this gig workforce training since 2020.
Okay.
We have trained around 13,000.
13,000
since 2020. So out of these 13,000, about 5% of them are 50 years old or older.
Oh.
So this is like 600, 700 of them, right? And we have many success stories. I'm not going to go through too many, probably just one. A lady from Setapak, Kuala Lumpur, she stopped from her full-time job. Now she's a full-time freelancer.
Okay.
Her background is in accounting and finance. So in a freelancer, she performed job as a consultant.
Okay.
Right? So from April 2022 until June 2022, her income was RM 90,000.
What?
Yes. Because
Karamjit, I think we are going to start applying for the job, yeah?
Damn right. In fact, I'm going to get Diana to host the show now. I got to go and submit my application right now, man.
So
wow.
the point is, those of us who are older, those of you who are older, you have plenty of experience which are valued by companies not only in Malaysia but also worldwide.
Correct.
If we get onto the gig platform, which is a global international platform, then you have the opportunity to offer your services to the global market.
Absolutely.
So this is, I think, actually a good opportunity for those of us who are 50 plus, who doesn't feel that we are fit enough to be working full time, or we want to do other things as well. So this is an opportunity for us to explore new opportunities.
Understood.
Right.
So I think that so what I'm saying is that you're saying that for those of you who are already, at that age, you already have a certain skill set with you, right? That you've been practicing your whole life. You're saying that if you put your services on a digital platform, your market for your services is wider, right? So you can reach out. Okay, that's right. But you're stuck with you're stuck with the existing skills you've built. What if the skills you have, right, for your career are not so marketable when you put them on the digital platform? So the second part, maybe if I can add to that, what then skills should you try to pick up to make yourself more attractive, right, when you put yourself on a digital platform, so that other employers may, somebody in Singapore, right, or wherever may say, hey, this person is interesting. What can these people do? Right.
So actually, if you learn digital, according to a recent study by AWS, which I saw quoted on your DNA, 99% of people who took up a digital skills course within a year, they see 99% of them see improvement or benefit in their career. So whatever that you fancy, I think you just go ahead and take it. Once you go onto the platform, you will see what are the trending skills. Then just explore it, just do it. And chances are you'll do better than what you were doing before you took up the course. Yeah. Okay. 99% of the time.
Wow. Okay. I think I've heard all the three panelists mentioning that. So it seems like a reality of the world now is that picking up any level of digital skills is going to help you, right? Lengthen your career or give you opportunities to do work that you wouldn't ordinarily do if you're just, checking and looking for jobs within a geographic region, right? You got to break down those geographic, physical barriers, boundaries, and open yourself up to the world. But when you do that, please strengthen your capabilities, right? In whatever skill set. And even if it's a little bit, right, it's better than nothing, and it can add, and it builds on your existing skill set, because which you have spent your 30 years of your life doing, right? Add something. Because it's very hard, I think, for people to say that I've been doing nursing for the last 35 years, and now for the I want to obviously want to work beyond 60, like Datuk was saying, right? 60 is the next phase of your career. Right. I want to go until I'm 70, so you got to then be motivated enough to pick up some skill set, right, that can add value, right? Whether it's in the digital space or whatever. So actually, the reality is it has to be in the digital space. Whatever skill set you're picking up has to translate, right, where you can deliver it, right, over your computer, over a laptop, over your probably a laptop, right, or desktop. Because over your mobile phone probably cannot. So it's just a cold, hard reality of the way the world has moved. And even when you talk about we're talking about future of work, right? That's the reality today. And I'm very sure that many of those who are listening probably know of people who are already working remotely, right? With a company in another country, right? I mean, two of the staff from DNA, journalists, right, are working for companies in Singapore who say, hey, fine, you stay in Subang Jaya, take care of your father who's elderly, right? No, same time zone, right? You just give us, 40 hours, or Singapore a bit more, 45 hours a week of your time, right? We're fine. And the fact that she can do it from home, right, is fantastic, right? And I'm thinking, even if journalism is affected, what more the technical skills and higher level skills? So it's quite scary, right? And especially all of us employers, we're paying in ringgit. So, but for you, talent there, right? You can, like, I think somebody said you can start earning in ringgit or euro, right? Or in Sing dollar, Aussie dollar. It's incredible opportunities, but you got to help yourself. Like Anthony was saying, right? It's two levels of responsibility, right? Please don't point your finger and say government not helping the MDEC program or HRDF program to do this. I call and already full, cannot accept anymore. Please don't fall into the trap of giving excuses, right? There are so many things. Amazon is offering they're offering free training. Alibaba is offering free training, right? Google and Microsoft. So there's a lot of things you all can do, incredible opportunities there. Sorry, okay. I got too excited there. So I'll move on to after Nick, back to Anthony, right? Anthony, so how to motivate? There you go. It's talking about motivation, right? So this is a question from a CEO of I think a shared services outsourcing company, talking about how to motivate your current talent to learn the latest technology trends and keep up, with for the future, which I think Datuk also answered a bit, but Anthony, this is a special question for you.
Okay, so I'll just give a perspective on, a recent global report on, is a career a long-term journey now? And that has dramatically changed. So, this is a survey across all the continents, more than 5,000 to 6,000 people. The data point says that almost half of the population says that today I will not think of 5 or 10 years.
Oh.
But I will think of 1 year, 3 years, those kind of adjustments. They're calibrating their adjustments. And probably this is a corrective period for careers. And this is particularly the millennial workforce.
Okay.
And that group, which is the largest group, which is coming workforce now. And I think this year onwards, the Alpha is also coming on board, which is the youngest group of working population.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the next group or next school of thought, they're saying, I'd rather leave a role which I'm less interested, even if I'm offered a higher package. Okay, it's a choice being exercised by individuals right now. So these are two interesting things. One, careers are being taught shorter period of time right now, rather than the long 5, 10, or even longer. And then the choice of exercising my interest over comp is taking place. So coming back to the point on how do we keep them motivated, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things. Reskilling and upskilling is self-initiative learning culture, right? And as much as we want, as an organization, keeping it on top of the priority, the individual needs to embrace that. So you can give a lot of programs, make it available like what you just now said, but the choice of the individuals to adopt and take it up is going to be important. And to the point I said earlier, where both the organization perspective and the individual perspective must marry. And they're able to see it in line with each other's requirements as they go forward, right? So how can we do this better, right? So how can organizations do this is to make it easy for them. Make it easy for them, apply gamification, apply approaches which allows them to be creative, working into teams where they can learn something together, right? Just shift the game where you can give an opportunity as a project and get 10 people to work on it so they learn the process. Rather than you ask that individual, go upskill yourself, go reskill yourself. Let's instead look at them as groups. You come in as a company, your team comes in and you take the program, 10 packs, 20 packs, you do one class. Take it as a learning experience as a team, and then you begin to learn faster and learn more, if I may say, in an excited, interesting way, right? Now, that's for the collective skills or the common skills. Now, there will be always specialized skills someone is passionate about.
True.
Now, recently I spoke to a very high senior level, C-level person who basically said, She's extremely excited to have taken a blockchain global program. Right? And it's cutting edge, right? So if you are a blockchain expert, you're talking about top 1,000, in the market and in the industry, and you're going to be in demand, right? So there will be that inspiration that we need to create. And companies can create that. Individuals can also embrace that curiosity. If I may say, be willing to play, be willing to experiment, embrace curiosity. Be open to something different. Right? Encourage them to, participate, pick up that new skill, pick up that new language, pick up that new digital skills that's coming up from HRD Corp, MDEC, or, so many opportunities are there. It's up to us to pick up and embrace it, but embrace it with curiosity, embrace it with play, embrace it with the experiment of teams. That way the companies can engage more people to embrace learning and help them contribute better to be more productive.
More productive. It's all about that. Okay, so I'm going to have one question for Datuk, and then I'm going to end with the question that I should have started with, my same question for all three of you, which I got so excited seeing all the questions there, okay? Which is, of course, you all know, right? So for the audience there, I will be asking them one question, which is the question I should have started with, right? Which is, how are their own respective organizations, right, embracing the new way of working? Okay, so putting them on the spot there. But before that, Dato, for you is that there's a question from Cecilia Ng, right, which I find quite interesting, which is the short-term thinking, right, which is she's asking, what is the fastest and most effective way, right, to reskill your current staff? Interesting.
I strongly believe there's no fastest way to acquire anything. You have to go to the right way to acquire.
The right way. I like that.
Yeah, but I think with the current technology, there's a lot of opportunities, and that you could acquire things in a flexible, at your own pace. Today we have a lot of online, programs that is available. There's a lot of online platform that is available. They are giving training access to the employees, employers, even the graduates. So it is important. Of course, if you ask me, there are so many content. Even in HRD Corp, we got 120,000 programs are registered in HRD Corp. Wow. And that's even HRD Corp. We talk about global content. Yeah. There's so many contents available in YouTube, a lot of online.
Coursera, Udemy, you name it. Yeah.
So the content is never a problem. It's about how disciplined we are to learn the content is the most important thing. And how serious we take trainings, that is the most important thing. The companies, it is not either, I'm not sure whether Cecilia is an individual or from corporate companies, but if you are from a corporate company, the companies have to start to seriously think that training is part of the culture in every company. If you want the staffs or the employees to stay along with you, you must give the kind of empowerment and trust to them. I seriously feel sometimes the employers have a trust deficit. The employers feel that, don't trust the employees. They think that when I train my employees, they might leave them.
Yeah.
This is a common mindset in the SME space. 90% of the HRD Corp registered employees are SME. And when you have this kind of mindset, how we are going to empower or make Malaysia a knowledge-based, upskilled workforce? You have to give it back to them. But on the other hand, if you don't train your people, be it SME, SMI, or GRCs, MNCs, how do you increase the productivity? Okay. How do you get better results from them? So you have to, it's a chicken and egg. But I think as an employer, you must give that benefit of doubt to the employees. That's number one. Number two, the employees need to take things very seriously as well when it comes to training. If you want to have a career progression, if you want to go to the next level, you can't be doing the same thing again and again, expect a different result. That's not really, that's insane. No, you have to acquire new skills, new knowledge, and acquiring skills these days are very easy, very simple. And there's no complex about it, but it's just that whether you are disciplined, you are serious about what you want to do. That's the question for Cecilia. When I saw a couple of questions, I really want to touch on it.
Sure. Go ahead.
Being fair to those audience who time to write this question, there was one question that anonymous person posted about how the industry can be fair, equality, you don't discriminate and judgmental. I think my answer to that is very simple. You don't expect the industry to be fair. You don't expect the industry to be discriminating. and all this judgmental, why do you want the industry to be judge you? Who are there to judge you? You don't allow anybody to judge who you are. You have to decide, what is the best about you, and you don't expect the industry to be fair to you. Industry will never be fair to anyone. How can you expect what is fair to me might not be fair to you?
Yeah.
What is fair to the industry might not be fair to me. So these are something which will stop us from progressing. We have to come out of the syndrome, that you don't want people to judge you, people to be fair to you. I think if you start to believe in yourself, if you start to do the right thing, everything will be fair to you. Everything will be in the right progress to you. That's for that person. The second one, Stephanie asked about the training funds available for B40 and a higher education kid. Of course, HRD Corp, we focus on the skills, upskilling, reskilling, cross-skilling, employers. So I don't say that we don't have training. I would recommend Cecilia to come to HRD Corp every Thursday. We have an open day. She could come and talk to my, my people in HRD Corp, and they'll be able to guide her in a much better way rather than I explain to you here. So I'm looking forward to see you in HRD Corp so we could give you better information. The last question about how can train and place help students to land a job? Students to land a job. Of course, one of the key criteria for place and train is that only when you get a job, you get onto the training. If you don't get the job, that's about the place and train. If you don't get the placement, you don't get the training done. Okay. So we are giving you a starter. We are giving you a platform to move on. But I know we have many problems. Though people got the job, they did the training, but they don't even stay there for 6 months. They don't even stay for 2 months because they don't like the workplace. They don't like things workplace, or they want to be in a very comfort zone. So these are something which is not within the control of HRD Corp, neither within the control of the employers. If you want an opportunity, we give you the opportunity. If you think this opportunity is not good, then you got to look for a better opportunity under your own
initiative.
That's it. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, no, good. So I think I'm hearing a lot that we all have to take control, right? And don't let someone judge you. Like if you disagree, right? You find a place where they'll appreciate your skills or upskill yourself. Sometimes you may need to take a dose of humble pie and say, oh, maybe they are partially right. Okay, I'm going to work at it myself. And one time, even for me also, one of my ex-bosses actually told me once that maybe I should leave journalism because say maybe this is not the career for you. And I went back at home that night and I looked in the mirror and I said, my God, 18 years of studying from primary school, right, until university, 18 years of studying and this is what it's come to. And I slapped myself right in front of the mirror and I said, wake up and, get your act together, and I responded positively. So, it is within you, right, to chart the course of your career, right? So, okay, just quickly now, I need to end up, but very important because this is about the future of work. What's the reality? Maybe, Nick, I'll start with you. I'll end with Datuk Shahul, right? For your organization, MDEC, how are you all adapting to work right now? Is it hybrid? Is it, And then Anthony and then Datuk Shahul. You're still on mute. Okay.
So, MDEC, of course, we have to embrace digital. So, back to the circle I mentioned earlier in my session just now. Number one, when we talk about how the work is done, we employ a lot of productivity tools. Microsoft 365, all the HR services are through the portal. Apply for leave, recruitment, everything is through the portal. No more fixed line in the office. Everybody's mobile. We're actively on social media. And number two, in terms of who does the work, we, on top of the normal full-time staff, we also have contract workers. And probably now we're going to toy with gig workers as well, right? Mm-hmm. And when and where work is done, we, of course, practice flexible work arrangement. Some of us come to the office 3 days a week, 2 days from home, and flexible hours is also practiced. So it's there. And we are also very much involved in the development of the initiative that we run. If you walk into our office, you see people wearing this Oculus and playing games and all that. So we are actually developing the metaverse and all that for our things. So, but more importantly, I think we need a strong leadership with who understands digital. According to Accenture, only 26% of CEOs have a future-ready strategy.
Wow, that's global, huh? Wow.
Yeah, in 2022. So if the leadership of the company doesn't have a future-ready strategy, then forget about, you know, employing and deploying all these apps or remote work or whatever into the work culture.
Okay. So it looks like still a long way to go. Okay, Anthony, same question, maybe a bit quicker, and then we get Datuk to round it up.
Sure. I think one of the things for Ferry is the ability to collaborate is of prime importance. So, of course, we resisted the temptation of allowing individual work overcome teamwork. So the priority was placed on collaboration and teamwork. And, you know, you allow that flexibility with the teams to make the decision on their own. The respective leaders are empowered to make the decision. If they need to meet in person, they meet virtually, they can get things done, go on. So that is the core of how we began around this process. But physically, anybody's welcome to work in the office anytime, right? So no restrictions or limitations on that. So much so we are practicing, for example, I'll just share with you, Mondays and Tuesdays we are in office, everyone, yeah? And the rest of the days work from anywhere.
Okay.
Right. So just an example, right? But of course, as you work, you build together the activities and so on. The respective leaders can align and work together, and we see better engagement, better productivity, and better support.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, Datuk Shahul, the same question. How is it things at HRDF?
Well, in HRD Corp, to me, I treat even my employees like a customer. You know, for me, customer is king, so my employees are king as well in HRD.
Oh. Okay.
As a CEO of this company, I strive to ensure that our employees are well taken care. That also means that I want to create a very conducive environment for them to grow. You know, because today, when we talk about future of work is all about employees, very demanding employees. You know, very very demanding workforce.
True.
It's not like those days, you know, with a lot of technology changes, you know, flexibility. The candidates, the workforce is going to be very demanding. And if, as an employer, if you don't come out with the right work-life balance plan for your employees, you will be really left behind. You won't be able to get a quality candidate. So, and I constantly ensure that the employees are given personalized, attentions whenever they are required. We focus on their productivity. We focus on hand-holding them. I know nobody is born expert, and nobody comes with a lot of wisdom. You know, people learn along the way. When we make mistakes, we learn along the way. But we should be open enough to handhold them and guide them. And I certainly push that employee health and well-being is utmost priority. The healthy workforce is a healthy organization. True. And we keep preaching in HRD Corp that if we take care of the people, people will take care of HRD Corp. And that's simple mantra what we practice.
Okay. Wow, interesting. I've never heard a leader of an organization say employees are king, man. Expect a deluge of applications coming in after this session, Datuk. Okay, so anyway, with that, hey folks, there's so many questions there. Sorry, we can't take more. But remember, during the closing credits, the panelists will try to answer some of the questions. Like I said, this discussion is so wide-ranging and so many things. But my key takeaway is simply that we all have to empower ourselves, right? I heard about initiative, desire, discipline, right? You can have desire, but without discipline, you need to put in the hard work, right, to upskill yourself. Upskilling is not easy. I don't think just because there's a free course, MDEC organizing is easy, right? MDEC can tell you many people drop off the courses also. So you must have that hunger, that desire within you. Especially for those of you who are above 50, right? You want to elongate, lengthen your career beyond 60. If you're not your own boss, then you absolutely have to do this. Yeah? No questions asked. You have to. And really, there are companies there around the world who will need your skill set. So please prepare yourself for the many roles that are available. I think somebody said there's no shortage. I think Datuk Shahul said there are no shortages of roles out there in Malaysia or what more in the region, right? So please, all of you, right, sharpen your own sorts, right, and become incredible talent that organization need. And for bosses, I think there's some good takeaways from all the three panelists also. And with that, I want to thank all of you for the privilege of your time. And we're going to end the show now. Thank you, panelists. Please stay on, and there'll be some comments, right, coming in, and they'll be answering your questions further. And see you at the last virtual, webinar for Top Attack, which I don't know when, but it's coming soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Karamjit.